Tremendous here, got a battle report here for ya. This is game 3 of 3 of the LGS tournament. It's a 2,000 point battle. 'Tis I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogres, versus Fast Eddie, who's also playing Ogres. Yes, it's an Ogre versus Ogre deathmatch for first place. I'm currently in second place overall, and he's in first by a lot. He beat the crap out of his first two opponents while I squeaked out a draw because my opponent was being generous in the first game, and I was able to beat my second round opponent because the dice were being generous in the second game. So hey, generosity. I'm not proud. Anyway, this is a great finish to a great tournament. Sit back, relax, and get ready to see how it goes. Here's my list, and it has not changed, because that would be cheating. I still have my Warlock with Scarlet Maw's Phenomenon Amulet. I've got another Warlock with an Inspiring Talisman, and I've got an Army Standard with the Healing Charm, because he runs around with Band-Aids. At least he does something. And then I've got a unit of Red Goblin Scouts. They're just in troop formation, or they're a formation of troops, however you want to say it. Making up the rest of my list, I've got a Warrior Regiment with two-handed weapons and the Blade of Slashing. I've got a Warrior Horde with Dwarven Ale, because they're my lush. And then I got a couple of Siegebreaker Hordes, one with the Chant of Hate, and the other one, I believe, has the Brew of Haste. Because, you know, Speed 7, or Speed 6 is good for them. The rest of my list consists of a Shooter Horde with Blessing of the Gods, a Chariot Horde with Potion of the Caterpillar because I hate being hindered, absolutely can't stand it, and two Red Goblin Blasters. Oh yeah. That's going to do it for my list. I actually got my opponent's list, so I'm going to post it. I'm going to play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you like to see what he took. So the scenario for this game was kill points. The idea was to get across and beat the ever-loving tar out of your opponent before they do the same to you. Honestly, can't think of the last time that I played Ogres vs. Ogres, so I decided to go for it. I like playing against this guy. It's a lot of fun. Last time we played was in 40K, and he thunderstomped me, which was painful. But yeah, I threw a lot of stuff in the middle because I wanted to surge forward. I figured he was going to do the same. I did not know what he was taking. I didn't know what kind of a list he had or any of his tactics or anything. I just knew that he was doing incredibly better than me, and I was thrilled that I got a victory in round 2, so I didn't really care what happened here. I was just going to have some fun. So I start off my deployment, and as you can see, I got my scout unit way over there on the right all by themselves. The idea was I throw the guys out there and force my opponent to put a bunch of stuff over on the right flank, and then I go way over here to the left flank. I put the scouts over there, and then I put a Red Goblin Blaster over there, and then he wasn't falling for it at all. He put his shooters over there on the hill. He couldn't have cared less. So I kind of abandoned the Goblin Scouts. That's my fault. I really misused them, but I was hoping to bait them, and it didn't work. So everything else is in the center, and I got a few things on the left. I'm hoping to use the impassable terrain there, the big Triceratops head, to kind of bottleneck them. Well, you'll see what happens, because his game is a lot more pew-pew than mine. And, well, that's it for deployment. Here's top 1 after movement, and I didn't get to go first. I almost never do. And for the most part, his guys start moving forward a little bit. His 2 big units of shooters on the hill, and the captains stay put because it'd be stupid to move them. His boomers, the one in the middle there, stays still for the most part because he doesn't need to come forward. I do. The ones on the right move forward a little bit so they can hopefully get in range next turn to shoot me. I don't believe he's in range this turn. I don't remember. We'll know in a minute. His other unit of warriors, they come down around the side there to do some damage, and his giant comes thundering down the side because he's feeling ballsy. That's really it for his movement, though. We jump into the Pansy Phase, and one of his units of shooters open up on my Red Goblin Scout, Blaster, Red Goblin Blaster, and puts 3 wounds on him. Yes, the little guy on the bear is a Red Goblin Scout Blaster for this one. And, yeah, he's sitting on 3 wounds. That's not good. He double downs and fires with the other unit, doing 3 more wounds to him. I think they're only like a 9/11. That's not a good look. And then I get lucky as all get out, and he rolls like a 3. For a total line, I'm wavered. Totally acceptable. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So, yes, my Red Goblin Blaster absorbed pretty much all of his shots and didn't explode. Oh, I like that unit. The only other thing that happened is his captain, something shoots at this unit of warriors on the left flank there and does 3 wounds to them as well. I don't remember what it was. It must have been his other unit of shooters. Maybe his captain shot at the blaster and did 3 more wounds. That damn hill is the bane of my game. But they're fine. They don't take anything for it. So here's bottom of 1 after movement. And I come forward, but I don't come forward aggressive enough, which was a mistake. I should have just flew forward and been done with it. On the left flank, I send the warrior straight up into the giant, and I'm like, come at me, bro. I'm not even nervous. The warlock that I have comes up with him, just behind. He's trying to use the Triceratops skull to block a line of sight so he can't be shot too easy. My chariots come up just enough so that neither of those units can charge him, but I can charge him. It's going to force him to back up or whatever, which was stupid. I should have came forward so just one could charge me, taken the hits, and then gone forward, because otherwise I'm just going to get blasted by the shooters and the captain when I get too close, and that's the end of that. In the middle, my siege breakers, my warriors, and my Red Goblin Blaster move forward. I move the blaster up so that if anything charges the little regiment of warriors, they're going to get hit, they're going to get exploded, life is good. And if he decides to shoot at the Red Goblin Blaster as opposed to the regiment, that's fine too. Whatever happens, happens. My army standard moves into the middle so that he can spread out his, inspiring bubble to all 3 of them, just in case. And the Red Goblin Scouts shift over to the right because he's got stuff coming after him, and I'm still trying to pull his army away from the main fight. Just to try to split him up so I can deal with him easier. That's it for my movement. During the Pansy Phase, my Warlock with 5 Lightning Bolt fires off at the warriors up top there and do a single wound to him. So that's awesome. Yay. And then my shooters open up on his warriors that are in that little water hazard there, and they're able to do 5 wounds to him, which I was very pleased about. Nothing happens in their nerve checks, and there's no combat, so here's top of 2 after movement. There's a little bit. He doesn't take any of my bait, with the exception on the left. His giant goes into my warriors. That's fine. I'm hoping that he gets like 7 to 9 attacks. He'll wound with 5 or 6. They should be all right. They're countercharge and hopefully kill the giant, or at least put a serious hurting on him. We'll see. So his giant goes into me. There's nothing I can do about that. The rest of his stuff, like in the middle there, it just kind of angles so that they can both charge the chariots if they're foolish enough to get within range. Meanwhile, his shooters and his captain are probably going to open up on him. There's nothing I can do about that. He's got me on range. I'm starting to see a lot of holes that I have in this army, so I'm not thrilled. My caster with the Phanulian Amulet or whatever backs up a little bit, his warriors back up a little bit from my guy with the Phanulian Amulet, so I have to go after him, so I have to move forward a little bit. I think, not 100% on that one. And the rest of his stuff in the middle mostly stays put or just kind of shifts around. He's got a very long-ranged army, so he's just going to shoot the hell out of me this turn. So that's it for movement. We go into the shooting phase, and his boomers open up on my other Red Goblin Blaster, putting 2 wounds on him right off the bat. Not terrible, but that's just the opening shot. I think his second unit of boomers in the water there open up on him and put 6 wounds on him, so that all but guarantees he's going to explode. Unit of his shooters opens up and puts 4 wounds on the chariots, which not as bad as it could have been, let's be honest. And then I think his captain opens up on him and slides a single wound through, which, again, not that big of a deal. They've got a pretty decent nerve. I'm sorry, the guys on the hill are the ones that shot at the Red Goblin Blaster, did 6 wounds to it. The guys in the water, the boomers, they open up on the regiment, and I think they just put a couple of wounds through on them, which, that's not terrible at all. That's actually very doable. And then it happens, we go to nerve, and the blaster explodes. So, because I'm terrible at placement and it goes out as far as it possibly can, the full 6 inches, the regiment takes about 4 wounds. The siege breakers on the left there take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the warriors behind me take 5 as well. Could have been a lot worse, could have been, 12 or something like that, but this is completely my fault. I was an idiot, and I paid the idiot's price. I got what I deserved. So my regiment breaks, not because of the Red Goblin Scout wounds, but because he took wounds prior to the Scout exploding. So he had to take a nerve check, and he routed huge. It wasn't even close. God, I'm stupid. I'm really terrible at this game, and it actually is starting to eat at me. The Pansy Phase ends, and we get into some sweet, sweet combat. This one actually goes better than I thought it would. We end up only taking 4 wounds. Now this unit has a total of 7. That's fine. They should be able to countercharge this giant and put a serious hurt on him. Finally, something's kind of going the way I want it to go. Whether or not that's good or not, we'll find out in a minute. My warrior's perfectly fine with it. The giant bounces off, and we'll be with him in just a moment. So, here's bottom of 2 after movement, and I'm hurting, but I'm far from out of this game. I'm still going for something, and what that is, I don't know. So, the warriors charge back into the giant, countercharging him. The warlock behind him comes up to try to just fire off a lightning bolt at the warriors on the left side there. If I can waver him or rout him, that'd be great, because then my chariots can go after his unit next turn, and I'd have to worry about being rear or flank charged. If I had my scouts in the right place, I could possibly block one of those, but I'm an idiot, and so I have nowhere to put them. My chariots come forward a little bit so that only 1 unit can charge me. I should have thrown my damn, warlock in the way to block, but again, I don't see these things until I do the battle report. I'm really terrible at this. My Red Goblin blaster on the left flank comes up behind the Triceratops skull, just trying to not get shot too much more because I don't want them to blow up yet. I want something to get closer so I can blow up in them. We'll see if that works out. My shooters in the forest hold still. The siege breakers and the warriors move up slightly, daring something to charge them. I mean, they got big shields, so I figure in the front I should be okay. And my Red Goblin Scouts can't pass up the opportunity to charge as captains, so they do, and, well, you'll see how good of an idea that was in a minute. That's it for my movement phase. We go into the Pansy Phase, and the combined lightning bolts of both my warlocks into that unit of warriors right there does 4 wounds. I'm not a huge fan of lightning bolt. It just does not do enough wounds to really be impressive. But 4 wounds is better than 1, and I'll take what I have to get. My shooters open up on the boomers inside the water hazard there and do 4 more wounds to them. So I think they're sitting on like 9 or 10. They've got to be getting close, right? My army standard is able to use his healing charm to heal a couple of wounds off the warriors that got blown up by my very poorly placed blaster. And that's it. Everything that he has that took damage is perfectly fine. I don't so much as waver any of them. Little irritating, but it's my own stupid fault, and I got what I deserved. We jump into combat, and my warriors are able to put 10 solid wounds on this giant, which makes me very happy. I hope the warriors are there for another turn, but yeah, 10 wounds, that's excellent. I get a decent roll, and the giant routs. There's nobody inspiring around to help him out, so he goes bye-bye. My unit of warriors turns slightly to put some pressure on that unit of warriors up front there, and provided I don't get a shot off the table, they might be able to get a 2 for this game. Over here, my scouts slam into this guy. They're hindered because they hit the terrain there, and they are able to do exactly nothing to the captain. He bounces off an inch, and he's probably going to pay for that next turn. Well, that's what they get for failing to do so much as a flippin' wound. That takes us over here to top of 3 after movement. So, his 2 units in the middle there, they come right up to my chariots. They're like, we dare you, because no matter where you charge, we're going to countercharge, and that's probably going to be bad. Not to mention he's about to shoot the hell out of me, so he's going to sacrifice maybe a unit, and I'm screwed. His unit over on the right side there, his warriors charge into my siege breakers, and I'm really hoping that works out for me. I believe his character on the right charges back into my scouts, and I think that's it. The rest of his stuff just kind of moves around a little bit, nothing serious. And yeah, his movement's pretty much done. So we go into his Pansy Phase, and right off the bat, the unit of shooters on the hill, one of them, fires at my warriors on the left flank there, doing 6 wounds to him, which is pretty much the death nail. The boomers fire at my warriors in the middle there, doing 3 more wounds, bringing up to a total of 7. But we're fine. We're fine. None of my units waver or rout or anything like that. And the only reason that this unit didn't rout is because my opponent rolled Snake Eyes. I got lucky as hell, which is wonderful because they can totally see the warriors around the side of that, what's it called? Triceratops head or whatever, which means I'm going to get a beautiful charge next turn. This might actually pan out for me. We go into combat, and the only one that we have that is worth even mentioning is this one, and he rolls out of the damn box. He puts 5 wounds on these guys. They're already carrying 6. I'm sorry, he put 6 on them. They're already carrying 5 for a total of 11. Again, this is completely because of my stupidity and piss poor placement of my, what's it called? The blaster. But all that happens is they get wavered. So there's still hope. There's a little bit of hope here. They're wavered. They can take 1 more charge. It is what it is. So maybe I can still pull this out somehow. I don't know. But the other combat with the captain versus the red goblins, they bounce off each other. He does nothing. So it's really a uneventful combat. So here we are in bottom of 3 after movement, and I go all in. What else do I got going on? The unit that stayed thanks to Snake Eyes goes in for the rear charge. Man, did I get lucky there. The chariots go after the other unit of warriors, and I hope to kill them off and be able to go after the shooters with them next turn. We'll see. The siege breakers that are wavered don't do anything. The unit of warriors goes after the boomers that are already hurting, and my scouts go back into his character because, hey, now that I'm committed, why not? My shooters stay perfectly still. My red goblin blaster backs up a little bit so he can't hurt anything, and that's really it for movement. During the Pansy Phase, my warlock fires off a lightning bolt at those guys on the hill and does 2 wounds to them. Out of 3 shots, 2 wounds. I don't understand lightning bolts, I guess. I just don't get it. So, a little emboldened, I take the guy with a lightning bolt 5, fire it at the character that's over by the water hazard over there, 1 wound. 1 wound. If I didn't love this model so much, I'd have thrown it across the store. I just... positive thoughts, positive thoughts, positive thoughts. And honestly, in desperation, my army standard uses heal on the siege breakers that are wavered, and I'm able to heal 2 wounds off of them. All I can do is hope that my opponent can't roll average next turn. Speaking of not rolling average, my shooters decide, screw it, we're shooting at that unit of shooters across the way. It's really the only target I got. They're on the hill, they're in range, everything else that's I can see that's in range is either blocked or I can't see it. So I shoot at them, 8 wounds. 8! Why wasn't I shooting at these guys the whole time? Ugh! We do the nerve checks. Every single one of his units is perfectly fine. So, we go into combat. My warriors triple their attacks in the rear and beat that other unit of warriors into the dirt. They don't rout. They cease to flip and exist. I flip them around like this to look at the shooters because I know they're going to shoot them off the table. I'm not stupid. Well, a little bit. But I want them to shoot at them as opposed to the chariots because if the chariots can beat this unit they're in combat with, I'm going to overrun hopefully 4 to 6 inches and be able to charge next turn. So if they shoot at this unit, my chariots will go in unmolested, and that would be wonderful. And my chariots do not disappoint. 6, 12, 16 wounds to this unit. Oh, Oh, it was like poetry. The unit is routed, I mean, to its core, and I overrun, I think, 3 or 4 inches. Not bad. Not bad at all. Better than just 1 inch. I am in position to charge a unit of shooters at the very minimum as captain next turn. This is very positive. In this combat, my warriors versus his boomers, 12 wounds. 12, and they were already hanging on to 9 or 10, and we pushed their routed corpses into the water hazard. I turned to face the bigger unit of boomers that are right there because I've got to. It'd be foolish to just look at the character. I know I'm going to get double charge. I know I'm in a lot of trouble, but if I could just hold out one more turn, desperately hold on, I could pull this off. And over here, my Goblin Scouts, just because they do a wound. It's really actually kind of funny. They're not orcs, so they don't rout, and I back off an inch. Still, the scouts did a wound to a character. That's awesome. So now it's my opponent's turn, top of 4. I took out 3 of his units last turn, feeling pretty strong right now. In his movement phase, obviously his characters and his unit slam into my warriors. The other unit of warriors slams into my siege breakers that were wavered last time. His captain goes into the scouts, and his shooters and his captain on the hill stay on the hill. That's it for his movement. We go into the Pansy Phase, and his shooters fire at my warriors, doing only 1 wound. Fingers crossed, right? I don't want to get too excited. His other unit of shooters fire at my what's it called? Chariots, and in total he does like 11 wounds to him or something ridiculous, out of the box painful. It was a lot of wounds. We do the nerve check, and sure enough, both the chariots and the warriors rout. Oh! You ever been punched in the stomach so hard your friggin' eyeballs hurt? Oh, man. All the momentum just ripped out from under me. Damn it! We go into the combat phase, and it's gonna get worse, so buckle in. His warriors slam into my siege breakers, and even with defense 6, he's able to slip 5 wounds through. The boy can do no wrong. Even with my army standard right next to him, they rout, no problem, and I would love to be mad at the unit, but the blame for this is solely laid at my feet. Putting my Red Goblin Blaster, surrounding him by all my units, and then being surprised when it blew up. That's just plain stupidity and incompetence on my fault. This is exactly my fault. Over here, the combined attacks from his warriors and his character, I mean, I'm not even going to bother to count. It's enough. It's definitely enough. They rout. Just suffice to say like that. I didn't take a picture because I couldn't focus with all the tears in my eyes. Anyway, over here, his captain's able to put 2 wounds on the Goblin Scout because apparently cutting him is the way to motivate him. And the goblins, they must be half orc because 2 wounds is enough to waver them. Is what it is. What can you do? So, here's bottom of 4 after movement, and God help me, because no one else will. I don't really have any. I moved the Red Goblin Blaster on the left flank up because why not? The Warlock with the Lightning Bolt's going to move up because that one unit did take 8 wounds. I could still shoot him off the table this turn, provided I have any chance in the world. I move my army standard back and I leave him facing towards the board because I'm an idiot. Just don't realize what I'm doing. I'm not paying attention because I know I've lost this game. I'm just going through the motions now. I want to try to get as big of a body count as I can, but there's no hope. There's just nothing I'm going to be able to do. I moved my other Warlock over towards the warriors that just took out my Siege Breakers in 2 rounds of combat because I want to do 1 wound with Lightning Bolt to him, the incompetent piece of shit that thing is, and that's really it for my movement. In the Pansy Phase, my Warlock is able to do 2 wounds with his Lightning Bolt 3 to the shooters on the right that were already carrying 8 wounds. That's right, the Warlock with only Lightning 3 is more reliable than the one with Lightning 5. If you have the accelerant, I will burn that model to the ground. For further illustrate my point, this idiot with Lightning Bolt 5 fires at that unit, misses with all 5! Why? Because he's a cross-eyed loser, that's why. However, desperation, my shooters fire into that unit right in front of him because I was going to go after the unit on the hill, but I thought maybe 10 wounds would be enough. We'll see. I put 5 wounds on this unit. 5. I felt great about that. I was like, you know what? At least when they kill me, at least they've got a bloody nose. We do the nerve check. I roll an 11, and then I roll a 10. You can see the dice on the left. They're wavered. Oh my god, I bought them around. It's not enough to win, but it's enough to make it closer to a draw, and I will take that. That would be wonderful. This is one of the best things that could have happened. With this unit of shooters up on the hill, they're wavered as well. How awesome is that? Not as great as they would have been if they were routed, but considering they can't shoot next turn, that's a blessing. I'll take it. I have no combat because, well, I don't want to talk about it. Here's top of 5 after movement. Not a whole lot. His character charges the rear of my character because, hey, when you give it up that sweet, what can you do when he takes the shot? His 1 unit of boomers moves up to shoot at my shooters, and the guys on the hill are either wavered or not moving because they're reloading. And on the right side there, his captain charges back into my scouts because, hey, free points is free points. That's it for movement. We go into the Pansy Phase, and his shooters open up the can of whoop-ass. It always seems to me that other people's shooters are just amazing. Mine did great once. These guys are consistent, though. 6 wounds to my otherwise unharmed Warlock. We roll his nerve check, and he's wavered. I'm lucky he's not routed, but he will be next turn. His boomers fire away at my shooters, doing 6 wounds there as well. The boys got shooting down to an art. And clearly I had too much luck last turn. 6 wounds, and I'm wavered. God damn it! We dive into combat, and his captain ran into my army standard, doing 3 wounds to him. Not bad considering he tripled his attacks. I was expecting a lot worse. This filthy, useless has-been wavers, though. 3 wounds with Inspiring, and he wavers. Oh my god! Oh. Yeah, so I'm going to petition Mantic and tell them if they're not mounted, they shouldn't be called heroes. They should be called speed bumps, individuals, patsies, garbage, because that's what they are. Yes, I'm bitter! Captain over here swings at the goblins and does another single wound to him, which, you know, that's not terrible, considering a captain is garbage anyway. 3 wounds is apparently enough, though, for the red goblins, and they flee. They rout. It is what it is. I poorly placed them and was foolish enough to think that they could take a garbage captain. Well, it is what it is. We go into bottom of 5, and I really don't have a whole lot of movement, because most of what I have is wavered, and the 1 or 2 things I have that can move are pure garbage. Well, that's not entirely fair. The Red Goblin Blaster goes flying over towards the warriors in the middle. They're on 5 wounds. They were wavered last turn. I'm going to blow them up. I don't care if I hit my stupid Warlock. I kind of hope I do. But if I can rout or waver his warriors, then maybe they'll be there next turn and I can try to kill him. That's it for my movement, though, because everything else is currently shitting itself. We go into the Pansy Phase. I fire with Lightning Bolt, do nothing again, and I detonate the Red Goblin Blaster. The blaster is able to do 7 wounds to this unit that was already carrying 5, I believe, so that brings them up to 12. Again, it was great, too, because the blaster only hit him. I only went out like 2 inches, so it missed the Warlock, unfortunately. But it did 7 wounds to that unit. The Warlock helped exactly 0. I'm never taking that friggin' Warlock again. And the unit routes. So that's some good news, at least.
This is a good death. There's no shame in this.
Coming down to the wire, here's top of 6 after movement, and he brings in his boomers to shoot at some stuff. His shooters stay put, his captain that just took out, the scouts comes running over, and that's it. Both of us are beat down. Oh, I'm sorry. And his other captain charges into my army standard because he's not done making him, well, eat his banner. 'Cause I guess that's all the idiot's good for. That's it for his movement. In the Pansy Phase, the shooters open up, and the first volley does only a single wound to my shooters, so there's hope. The forest is helping. The boomers open up, doing another 6 wounds to them. Yeah, once they get in range, boomers are devastating. And then I believe his captain opens up and does a single wound to my warlock. And this warlock is actually pretty good. It's unfortunate. He was inspiring. My opponent rolled twice, rolled like a 8 and a 9, and he fled off the table. I'm not even upset about that warlock. He really pulled his weight this game. This hurt, though. With only 7 wounds, this unit routs. It was painful. I mean, they had inspiring next to him, too. Only 7 wounds, and he was able to roll close enough twice, or high enough twice to rout them. Just devastating. Absolutely devastating. We go into combat, and his captain does a single wound to my army standard, which is enough to waver him yet again. Why do we always give the cowards the banners? And that brings us to bottom of 6. I'm out! I've got very, very few options left. In fact, I've only got 1 option left to me, but what the hell? I'll throw some dice. That's why we came. My useless garbage warlock tilts slightly to the right, and that's it for movement. He fires off at the captain that's been beating up my army standard because it's just not right for him to beat up on that childish fool. And he does 2 wounds to him. He finally hits. It took 3 rounds for this moron to do 2 wounds, throwing 5 dice at a time. Unfortunately, I don't roll high enough to rout him, but he is wavered. So, I guess bully arrested? I don't know. And there it is. There's the end of the game, and holy crap, what a game. I know I bitched because of that stupid warlock, and if you try to tell me that I didn't bitch properly, then you're out of your mind, because that warlock was garbage. It really upsets me that not only is he alive, but he is unwounded after this entire game. But still, as poorly as I played, and let's be honest, I really did. I made so many mistakes here, my opponent couldn't help but win. It still was a pretty good game. It wasn't, I'm not going to go so far and say it was close. He's got 2 big horde bricks of shooters. He's got 2 captains on the table. He's got a big old horde brick. I'm sorry, he's got 3 captains on the table. He's got a big old horde brick of boomers left. He won this game definitively, and he played them very, very well. The only thing that I think threw off his mojo was when my warriors on the left flank stayed because he rolled snake eyes. Other than that, he was steamrolling me from turn 1. Still a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. We shook hands afterwards. And he got me ice cream. He went out after skunking me, and he bought me a box of drumsticks. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a good guy, and that's why he did it. But he's also owed me this box of ice cream for going on 6 months now. So it was an excellent game because I finally got my just desserts. And yes, I've been waiting the whole battle report to say that. We'll get into the recap right away because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So if that wasn't readily apparent, this was a massive defeat for Lord Tremendous. I got 1,025 points out of him. He got 1,775 out of me for a difference of 750 points. Really, really solid victory for my opponent. This is a kill scenario. I ended up losing everything except for my cross-eyed warlock and my army standard. My opponent did incredibly, incredibly well. And yes, I know I bitched a lot, but you know what? This was a really good game. It was such a good game. This is like my opponent's 5th or 6th game, too, and he took first place. So, the guy's got skills. Or maybe he just got lucky and ran into guys like me all tournament. I don't know. Like I said, I might suck at this game just a little bit. I have no problem losing against this guy. He's a very skilled wargamer, and I enjoy playing against him. I did learn a lot about Ogres from him, and from all three of these battle reports for this particular series. You guys have come up with some really good examples, really good suggestions for the list and tactics, none of which I've ever used. So I'm really looking forward to changing my list up, getting some games in with some better ideas and some better forward thinking, and hopefully my next battle report shows how far I've come. Whether that's an inch or a mile, I will leave up to you. So overall, I'm pretty sure out of 12 people that played, I came in 6 or 7, so right in the middle, give or take. Plus or minus 1, which, honestly, for my skill level, I'm very proud of. I expected to finish 8th or lower. So, I'll take it. 6th or 7th place out of 12, I'm very happy with being the middle guy, you know what I mean? Gonna change my list up a lot, like I was saying. There's some things, obviously, the Warlock with the Phanulian Amulet is never going to see my friggin' table again. But there's a lot of things I want to change up. I want to throw out more chaff. I want to have more stuff to interrupt my opponent's shooting, just to get in there so they're disordered. Do 1 wound in combat and they can't shoot. Damn being wavered, damn being routed. I'm just trying to stop you from pulling the trigger. And the gits, I think, on flea bags, I think that's going to be, or I'm sorry, the bigots on flea bags, I think is going to be the direction to go in order to do that. I'm going to change up my bricks and stuff like that a bit, and hopefully play smarter, if not better. So, this was really a fantastic game. A hell of a way to finish off a 3-round tournament. This was a fantastic opponent. I'm really glad it could be against him, because in our game of 40K, it was so one-sided I couldn't even finish it. Not that he did anything wrong. Games Workshop's just terrible at writing rules. And like I said, epic way to end a tournament. And I want a rematch. Damn you, Fast Eddie. Damn you! In the end, though, I do believe that I was the true winner of the tournament, because Fast Eddie ran out after skunking me and got me a whole box of ice cream. The drumstick ones, too. The little ice cream cones with chocolate and everything. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. He's awesome. So, yes, Eddie, every time you beat me, if you get me a box of ice cream, we're good, man. But that's it. That's going to do it for this one. Battle Report number 11 is officially in the history books. Not to mention, I think, my first LGS tournament for Kings of War, which is really exciting. I love how quickly my LGS has gotten behind this game. 12 is better than I even saw when I was playing 9th Age, and I'm really hell. When we were playing Fantasy, seeing 12 people show up for it was, well, shoot, it was a blessing. So this is extraordinary. I hope they continue like this, especially if all 3 games can be as good as these were. As always, though, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comments section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.